Hi, welcome to the 10-Minute Parent. My name is Pastor Don Boldt, and I'll be your teacher for the next 5 to 10 minutes as we take a look at what the Bible says about how to raise our children for Him. And today we're going to be looking at authority and leadership, but for whose benefit? All right. Now, Jesus in Luke chapter 22, I'm just going to read this. It says, "And there arose a dispute among them as to which one of them was to be regarded as the greatest. And he said to them, The kings of the Gentiles lord it over them, and those who have authority over them are called benefactors." And we'll get back to that in a minute. "But not so with you. But let him who is the greatest among you become as the youngest, and the leader as the servant. For who is greater, the one who reclines at table or the one who serves? Is it not the one who reclines at table? But I am among you as one who serves. And you are those who have stood by me in my trials." Okay? And so let's take a look at this just for a minute and talk about your authority. God has given you authority, all right? Both in Ephesians chapter 6 and Colossians chapter 3, your children are told to obey you, all right? I mean, and frankly, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. This is pleasing to God. I mean, those are powerful statements. God has given to you authority. So how do you use it? All right, and so Jesus is talking to them because they're struggling. Oh, who's going to be the greatest? Who's going to have the most authority? Who's going to have the best place in the rulership of this kingdom that Jesus was talking about? And he says, you know how it is among the Gentiles, okay? So the Gentiles, in this case, I believe the word he was using actually is the pagans. He says, you know how they are. You know, they have authority and they lord it over their subjects. In other words, it is an authority that they use rather roughly over the people that they have authority over. And it says, and the people who rule are considered, or they call them benefactors. Well, what was a benefactor? Well, a benefactor was somebody who had done something. All right, maybe they'd led a successful battle or something like that. And so they would then be given authority. They might be, made the ruler over something after the war was over. All right, and so if you think about this, see, they had already done what they needed to do in order to have this authority. So basically, two things were true. One, they're very prone towards ruling for their own benefit. Okay, and I want to just say that one more time. They're very prone towards ruling for their own benefit. Right? And the second thing was, and some of the translations will actually say this, anything you received from them was a gift. In other words, you had nothing coming if you were under the rule of a benefactor. All right, well, I want to suggest that these are two tendencies as parents that we want to avoid. Again, going back to my Teen Challenge experiences and the things that I learned from them, sometimes the leaders in the program would come to me and say, hey, we want to add this new rule. And I would look at the rule and I'd say, yeah, okay, but why? Why do you want to add this rule? We already got 3-4 pages of rules the guys are following. Why do we need an additional rule? And if the answer was something that was for the benefit of the people who are in the program, I tended to be willing to consider it. If it was merely for the convenience or the benefit of the staff who are running the program, I was a lot more cautious. Why? Well, because I realized that the spirit that was at work here was one of the benefactor. I am ruling for my own benefit. All right, so how does that look in our homes? You're going to grow up somewhere as a child. All right, well, what is that place like? And one of the very, very powerful influences is, how is authority used? Is authority used to make this a really wonderful place for me to grow up? Is that authority used to provide a certain orderliness that's really nice to live in? Is that authority used to keep some justice here so that I'm not being abused? That can happen among siblings. We all know that. All right, so whether you're the youngest or the oldest, you know this. You know it intuitively. So that my parents are using that authority to benefit me is a wonderful thing. If you feel like that authority is always being used just to keep you down and to keep you under and to benefit the authority that's there, very quickly a certain kind of resentment can build there. All right, and that was very common when you lived under a benefactor. The second thing here, anything that you receive is a gift. In other words, this authority that they have was given to them as a reward for something they'd already done. So therefore, really, you didn't get much from them because there wasn't a lot of gratitude in their heart. There wasn't necessarily a lot of love for the people, if you will, coming from these people. Are you using your authority in a way that conveys love to your children? Are you using your authority to convey things to your children in a way that they have certain healthy expectations? healthy expectations. Things like, well, I get up in the morning and I think this is going to be a great day. My mom and dad are leading the house, and they're using that authority in a way that means that, hey, we're going to the park later today. We're getting together and doing something. We're going out for ice cream. Where there's rewards that are built into the day, and it's not rare. Okay, that you're a rewarding person. This connects with another thing that I was teaching on about being a rewarding leader, but where there's a reward that comes from you. We've all had bosses that were very rewarding people. If we got all the work done and everything, they'd take us out to lunch or something. And you love those leaders. Why? Because you realize they're using their authority to benefit you. You worked for them, they blessed you, right? And this idea of leadership that blesses. So then Jesus goes on to talk about, he says, well, look, you're thinking about it as though the person who is greatest is the person being served. But he says, I'm among you as one who serves. At the Last Supper, he washed their feet. And he said, do you know what I've done to you? Not for you, but to you. He says, if you call me Lord, and that's right. He said, so if I, your Lord, have washed your feet, you should do this for one another. And so this whole concept of kind of this foot-washing, servantly authority towards your children, that you are not looking to them to make sacrifices to make your life good. You're asking yourself, what sacrifices can you make for them to have the best life and the best outcome for themselves. Over in Hebrews chapter 13, and verses 7 and 17 both deal with authority issues. And one of them says this. It says that when you submit yourself to that authority, you look to the outcome of their faith. They're walking in a certain discipline. They're walking in a certain kind of obedience to some truth, right? Well, what's the result in their lives? And for your children to learn to want to be like you, rather than looking for the world where they finally get to order everybody around and not worry what anybody thinks, looking to a life of serving and benefiting others. So with that, I'm going to say thank you for coming and listening to us here on the 10-Minute Parent, and we'll see you next time.